Black History program. Can we put our hands together for that?
When I was in school, high school, it's been a long time ago, there was a song that always stuck out with me. And it says, no man is an island. No man stands alone. And I like that because Black history, African American history, it's not just U.S. history, but it's world history. African Americans have made great contributions throughout the world. And the truth of the matter is that not one of us in this room, not one of us, black, white, Asian, doesn't make a difference. Not one of us has done anything by ourselves. Not one of us. Somebody helped us along the way. Somebody lent us a hand. And that's what that song means to me. No one is an island. No one stands alone. You cannot make it in this world by yourself. I don't care who you are, where you come from. I don't care what your background is. And everybody makes a contribution, good or bad or indifference. Everybody makes a contribution, but it's up to us to build on those contributions. And that's what we're going to do in this new 2nd Congressional District. We're going to build on it, and we're going to make things better. And with your help, brothers keepers, with your help, Democratic Party, and with your help from the constituents, we are going to listen to your voice, and we're going to work to address and meet your needs.
Mr. Anthony King was born on June 6, 1934, in Alawite County to his proud parents, the Reverend George Peace and Odell Stanso Peace King. Martin Luther King Jr. said, life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? Anthony S. King seemed to live by this statement as he spent his life serving others. Upon graduation from Hayden High School, his college life at Hampton Institute, majoring in chemistry, led to the United States Air Force. He served our country, y'all, where he trained at Kessler Air Force Base in Biloxi, Mississippi. He learned everything he could about electronics. In turn, he trained generations of students in electronics at Norfolk Naval Shipyard and as an adjunct instructor at the illustrious Camp Community College, aka Pawnee Camp Community College. I used to work there, y'all. Whoa! He has served his hometown in many roles, including chartered Grand Knight with the St. Jude Catholic Churches, Knights of Columbus, Vice President of Franklin Kiwanis Club, leader of St. Jude's Choir, chaplain and president of the Franklin Sportsmen Association, and the president and member of the Franklin Redevelopment and Housing Authority. Anthony S. King has gone on and preceded us in death and demise, but yet he's not here. His legacy still stands. At this time, I would like to present to his amazing and phenomenal wife and a plaque and award in his honor for all that he has done and all that you have done for our community. Y'all give her a round of applause as she comes at this time. I'm going to ask for our president, our chair of the Franklin City Democratic Committee to please come, and he's going to present you, and we're going to present you with an award to honor the legacy of your phenomenal husband. Thank you so much. Matter of fact, do you have anything you would like to say?
I'll keep this very brief, as Tony would probably want me to do. Good morning to everyone. Good to see all of you here, and I'm delighted to be here also. I would just like to say thank you to the Democratic Committee, Ricky, and especially Mr. McLemore, because when we got started, after we moved in Franklin 20 years ago now, we're home. We moved back home to Franklin, and we did not have an active Democratic Committee, and that was what Tony's heart was set on, being sure that we were involved civically and politically in the city of Franklin. And I really appreciate the fact that you have recognized him this morning, because it was difficult for him to get the, go to Richmond and get everything that we needed to have done in order to bring a Democratic committee, active Democratic committee to Franklin City. And we were delighted that we had people like Ricky Sykes, Greg McLemore, and many others across the community who worked with us in establishing a very active Democratic committee. You can tell that by what we have here this morning. When Tony deceased, or he passed in December, we had done everything almost together throughout our marriage. We were married 52 years. And we, for some reason, God had it to be that I was not there when he passed because I was in the hospital also. I got sick while he was in the hospital. So my children had to plan his service and everything, Mr. Cofield. And there's one important thing, and Representative Laurie, you would appreciate this. He, in the 60s, went to Vietnam after he had served in the Air Force. With the crisis, war in Vietnam, he decided that he wanted to be there because some of his buddies were still there. So he was working for Philco Ford as a technician in electronics, and he went to Vietnam for 3 years, and my children did not put that in the obituary. But I did want to say that this morning because if there were anything that he did that really propelled him to a recognition of service for our city, because we are natives of Franklin City, for Franklin, the state, and the national level, it was that service. So I thank you this morning for your recognition of him. Thanks so very much.
And to just share a little bit of information about Mr. Elvin and Mrs. Ethel Vaughn. In 1958, Mr. Elvin Vaughn opened the doors of the Elvin Vaughn Funeral Home to serve the citizens of Franklin, Southampton County, and the surrounding areas. He, along with his wife, pledged to provide service to families and to support our city. Ethel M. Vaughn was the daughter of Ephraim and Annie Mutz of Scotland Neck, North Carolina, y'all. Ephraim Mutz was the first African-American mortician and funeral director in North Carolina. He, along with one of his sons, Ephraim Mutz Jr., provided services to the families of the African-American communities from Virginia and North Carolina. The original structure of the Mutz Funeral Home still remains on Main Street in Scotland Neck, North Carolina, to this very day. After completing her elementary and secondary education, Mrs. Vaughn matriculated to Bennett College and Fayetteville State Teachers College, both historically black colleges and universities, where she earned a Bachelor's of Art degree in education. She further studied at the College of William and Mary in the illustrious big city of Williamsburg, Virginia, the University of Virginia, and Cortez Peters Business College. Mrs. Vaughn was one of the first African-American females to hold a position with the Department of the Navy at the Pentagon. Her position was high level, where she was escorted by security and driven to various assignments. Y'all, she had VIP treatment. Mrs. Vaughn returned to North Carolina to pursue a career in education and taught in the public schools in Robbinsville, North Carolina. On June 21st of 1958, Ethel and Elvin Vaughn were married, thus beginning her contributions to the city of Franklin. She continued her career as an educator with the Franklin City Public School System. Community involvement included membership at First Baptist Church, member of the family choir under the direction of Mrs. Violet Harrison, wife of Dr. A.B. Harrison, the first African-American mayor of the city of Franklin. She was also a member of the Cosmonettes Social Club, which was a group of African-American women of Franklin that served the city through various community service projects. She was a charter member of the Lambda Psi Omega chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. I'm a little biased, y'all. Got a lot of AKs in my family. An international service organization that was founded on the campus of Howard University in Washington, D.C. in 1908, and is the oldest Greek letter organization established by African-American college-educated women. Mrs. Vaughn served as a member of the Franklin City Planning Commission and Ruth Camp Campbell Library Board. The doors of the Elvin Vaughn Funeral Home opened in 1958. Mr. Vaughn's mission was to serve the citizens of his community. Born and raised in the illustrious big city of Franklin, Virginia, Mr. Vaughn was the son of Charlie and Ethel W. Vaughn and completed his elementary and secondary education in Franklin, graduating from Hayden High School here in Franklin. Upon graduation from high school, Mr. Vaughn attended the illustrious home of the Green and Gold, Norfolk State University, a historically black college and university before serving his country in the armed forces during World War II. Wow, that's amazing. Upon his return from the war, Mr. Vaughn attended the Eccles College of Mortuary Science in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Upon his graduation, he returned to Franklin to open his own business, thus becoming one of the city's influential African American citizens. Mr. Vaughn was a member of the First Baptist Church, where he served as deacon, and I believe for some time he was the head deacon emeritus. He was a member of the Franklin City School Board. In 1995, Mr. Vaughn was unanimously named to the Franklin City Council and was the only African American member on the council at that time. He was asked to join the mayoral race as a mayor of the city of Franklin. However, Mr. Vaughn did not pursue the race at that time because of health concerns. However, he remained active in the community and within the city as a mentor to those who followed. Mr. Vaughn was known for his kindness, commitment, and compassion for the citizens of this community. They will surely be missed. They've made monumental steps within our community. And at this time, in order to receive this honor and this award, his very own daughter, Miss Noletta, will be coming to receive it. Y'all give a round of applause as she comes at this time. We're going to ask our chairman to come and present the award once more. And if you have anything to say, you can definitely say anything.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome, and thank you for attending. Thank you both, thank you all for this honor. It really makes me proud that my mother and my father both are being recognized this morning for their contributions to the city of Franklin. Again, my father and my mother love the city dearly. And as we heard in the biography for both of them, one of their missions was to make sure that the city of Franklin was well represented, that they served the community, that they gave back to the community what the community gave to them. And for that, I'm appreciative of it, and if they were here now with us, they'd be very appreciative of it as well. I always hear some of my mother's former students talking about how they would not be where they are today if it was not for the values that she instilled upon them while educating them. I had a former coworker that was saying, well, I don't want to go this far, but Mom had an iron ruler. She did not use that for anyone, okay? But it was a part of her teaching tool. And one of her former students asked me every time, have you found it? Have you found it? I know how to multiply because of your mother and that iron ruler. Not that she used it. She did not use it, but it was part of her teaching tool. And they want it. They want it as a part of their memory of what my mother did for them. My father, the same thing with my dad and the various families that he has served here in the city of Franklin. Every time I meet someone or come across someone, they tell me what my father did for them. During their times of sorrow, my father was able to bring a level of comfort to them during a very difficult time. And that's what everyone needs when they are experiencing sadness or grief of any sort. My father made it a point to make sure that each and every family that he served was taken care of in one way or the other. And I will not go any further, but again, I thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Sykes. Thank you, Reverend Cofield. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you for the honor. It is most greatly appreciated.
And a very phenomenal entity here within the city of Franklin. And that group is known as the Brothers Keepers. Just to share a little bit of information with you about them, the Brothers Keepers is an organization of men that is God-centered and centered around the principles of integrity, excellence, service to others, and trustworthiness. We are men, this is their statement, we are men that revere admirable characteristics in others, such as being compassionate, committed, caring, principle-centered morals, and a balanced and divine purpose to be life changers in our men of the community of Franklin and the adjoining cities and counties. Brothers Keepers was a spiritual vision that the phenomenal Dr. Anthony Goodwin was given by God to form a men's organization that would be a positive influence here within the city of Franklin, Alawite County, and Southampton County as well. Dr. Goodwin organized the group and they met at the Annex building on South Street with approximately 25 men. Now, it's hard to get a group of men together at one time, and they did it on the first time around. Woo, good gracious, that was monumental in itself. Brothers Keepers is an organization that is involved in the juvenile and domestic courts, court services, Bon Secours Medical Group, and other city organizations. Brothers Keepers have gone to approximately 40 men. They grew, y'all. They doubled, almost doubled. Good gracious. Men of various social and economic backgrounds, from restaurant owners, owners of trucking companies, city council members, retired police officers, pastors, Department of Corrections, and various other principalities. So if you ever in legal trouble, if you ever in spiritual trouble, or if you ever need some transportation with trucking, they got you. That's the group that you need to connect with here within the city. They are involved in feeding the community and have had functions that have fed over 500 people during Thanksgiving and other holidays. We strive to be a positive influence for young men as men who are looking for direction and guidance in the lives of others. Brothers Keepers have had a host of pastors, judge, police chief, financial advisor, delegates speak at our bi-monthly meetings that have an impact not only to our members, but to the family structure as well as their attitude towards the police, city officials, and the church environment from negative to positive. Brothers Keepers are growing and have members from Norfolk and other Tidewater cities as a part of their inner structure and governing body. One of our most significant and pivotal mottos is no excuses. We strive to be a positive and structured spiritual organization that will continue to be effective in Franklin, Southampton, and Alawite County. The Good Honorable Reverend Dr. Anthony Goodwin is the president, and Pastor Keith Rose is the vice president. Along with them are the women of grace and dignity. They ain't leave ladies out. They ain't what y'all think that they got omitted. The ladies are in there too. They are the women of grace. I like that, the women of grace and dignity. That are an extension of their mission and vision to help the community in the areas that young women and ladies in family situations that may need special attention as well. At this time, I would like to ask the entire group that is represented with Brothers Keepers to please rise. And at this time, can we give them a round of applause? And full disclosure and disclaimer, if I would have known y'all would come to hoodies, I would have put a hoodie on too. I would have, dang, y'all got one in the car, y'all got a medium. But at this time, we'd like to honor that of the great Pastor Dr. Anthony Goodwin at this time to receive the award on behalf of the Brothers Keepers. And we're gonna ask our chair to come and join us, as well as our councilman to come and join us to present this award also. Anything to say, Pastor?
We're going to ask the group if they would come. It would be robbery for me to stand here as though I've done it all. I'm going to ask every member of Brothers Keepers that are present and women of grace and strength and dignity if you would come forward.
I'd like to present this plaque to the sportsmen for all of their support through the years. We couldn't have had our meetings if it wasn't for the sportsmen allowing us to use their facilities. And we just thank you and present that to your brothers on our behalf. Thank you very much.
I'm truly humbled by all of the stories that I've heard this morning about community and community service and just the servants to the community that have been recognized today. So I am humbled to be standing here before you among such a group of accomplished people who give so much back to the community of Franklin. As Brenda mentioned, and as you probably know, the districts have shifted around a little bit, so I also bring greetings from Congressman Bobby Scott, and I'll say that we work incredibly closely together, and although the districts may have shifted a little bit in areas of Hampton Roads, I think that you will still have the same team representing you in Washington, and I'm excited to reach out and learn about and meet people across so many new parts of the district. So as the second district covers the entire coast of Virginia, that stays the same. So the Eastern Shore and Virginia Beach are still part of the district, but it used to stretch through parts of Norfolk and all the way up to Williamsburg on the peninsula. That shifted around a little bit, and now it stretches across the North Carolina border. So parts of Chesapeake, as well as Suffolk, Isle of Wight, Franklin, a little bit of Southampton County. So it's wonderful to be here and meet folks in the new part of the district, and look forward to listening, learning, and hearing the things that are important to you. As mentioned, I've been serving in Congress for 2 terms now. I serve as the Vice Chair on the Armed Services Committee. As a veteran myself, and understanding how important the Navy and military are, not only for our national defense, especially looking in the light of the unprovoked aggression from Putin within Ukraine, and our hearts are definitely with those in Ukraine today who are being senselessly attacked. I also serve on the Veterans Affairs Committee, where I chair the Disability Subcommittee, so looking out for all the veterans healthcare and disability related issues. I serve on the Homeland Security Committee, and a very, very big responsibility I feel serving on the Select Committee for the January 6th investigation. I think that we cannot stand for those who have tried to overthrow our government through violence, through undermining the election, and it's just a huge responsibility, and I think something very important that we do to protect the future of our democracy.
Thank you all for coming in. And the recognitions, I want to take this off. The recognitions today were very, very much not only appreciated, but so well deserved. And so thank to all the families that were represented today for what they're doing. And Tony and your group and what they're doing is just wonderful. So again, thank all of you for coming. We look forward to working with everybody, and thanks. And I apologize, but I'm supposed to be seeing my daughter off about 15 minutes ago, but I'm gonna stick around just to see what the mayor has to say for a few minutes. Maybe I can pick up some good tips. But anyway, thank you all very much.
Miss Rakaya Sykes to come recite a poem by Maya Angelou, and Still I Rise.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. So I will be reading And Still I Rise. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod on me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with glue? 'Cause I walk like I got oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like moons and just like suns, with the certainty of tides. Just like hopes springing high, still I'll rise. Did you want to see me broken, bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries? Does my sexiness upset you? Don't take it to heart, 'cause I laugh as if I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words, you may cut me with your eyes, you may kill me with your hatefulness, but still like life, I'll rise. Does my sexiness offend you? Oh. Does it come as a surprise that I dance, ooh, like I got diamonds at the meeting of my thighs? Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from a past rooted in pain, I rise. A black ocean leaping wide, welling and swelling and bearing in tide, leaving behind the nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak miraculously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave, I am the hope and I am the slave. There I go. I rise, I rise, I rise. Thank you.
This is a momentous occasion, Black History Month. And as was stated already before, that Black history is American history. Black history is American history. And as the delegate said, it's also world history as well. And I have to say, these 28 days should not be taken for granted, but we should be celebrating Black history 365 days a year. And it concerns me, delegate, when the governor creates executive orders to essentially erase what they believe are divisive topics to be taught in school. And these divisive topics sometimes involve talking about the issue of race, issues that slavery was born from, discrimination, prejudice. And so if you're not watching what's going on in Richmond, I think you got to pay attention, Franklin Democrats, because there are folks out there who choose to use the power of executive order, or sometimes they've even tried by legislation to sort of erase history. Erase history. And we all know, we've been taught this, that we were born with it, that we stand on the shoulders of giants. Heroes and sheroes. Many are on the front page of our program today. One of those heroes of mine actually is one of my namesakes, actually. My name is LeVar Marcus Stoney. My mother named me after LeVar Burton because she thought he looked good on Roots. He went off to do Reading Rainbow and Star Trek. And my father contributed to my name as well by giving me Marcus, after Marcus Garvey. There's a portrait of Marcus Garvey that hangs on my wall in my living room back at home because it reminds me of black empowerment. But also, both names, LeVar and Marcus, reminds me of black excellence. And you all know that these black stories, they're not unique. We have heroes in our own family. We have heroes in our background, in our ancestry. Some at times that go unnoticed, who are anonymous. The individuals who were a part of the migration, the forced migration from the west coast of Africa to get to the coast of the Commonwealth of Virginia. Some did not make it, but I still believe they are heroes and sheroes that should not be unrecognized. And we hold that spirit of those individuals with us each and every day. In order for us to get to where we are today, and here's the thing, we all have to recognize there has been progress. But we want more progress. Am I wrong? Do we want more progress?
Yes.
We want more progress. But we have to recognize that there are still obstacles that stand before us as we stand here in 2022. And we saw that loud and clear over the course of the last couple of years. But we've been seeing that for many, many years. We have produced a lot of products. We've produced a lot of individuals who have become a product of hard work and resilience. And I tell you about the resilience. If we could get from where we were, slavery, bondage, to be here today, to have a first black president, to have a first black woman, will be appointed to be the Supreme Court justice, that is resilience. That is resilience. And that is also excellence as well. You know, my father told me to choose not to be a hidden figure, right? He wanted me and my brother to excel, and he always told us essentially what we tell a lot of our kids, right? The American dream: you work hard, you keep your nose clean, and you can do anything you put your mind to. And despite my parents being both teenagers, my mother was 16, my father was 18 when I was born, I had the great fortune of being raised by my grandmother. And she moved us from Long Island, New York to the Hampton Roads region, seeking opportunity for us. And although I grew up on free and reduced lunch, there were times I could not participate in field trips, didn't have enough money to take my books home when I was in middle school, elementary school, high school. I became the first in my family to graduate from high school, the first in my family to go to college, the first in my family to graduate from college. See, my story is not unique. It is not extraordinary. I was able to go off and pursue my dream as to get involved in public service, help people get elected, get the right people in office. And that's why I had an opportunity. I met a number of these individuals here. Mr. King. Mr. King was one of the good Democrats who, when FCDC, Franklin City Democratic Committee, was just on the brink, he helped bring it back to life. I'm glad you celebrated him today. I've traveled this whole entire state because of what I was able to do in college and gave me the opportunity to meet so many different people. And I took that into public service when Governor McAuliffe was elected, he asked me to be the Secretary of the Commonwealth. And I didn't tell you this earlier, but my father was a returning citizen, a former offender, someone who made a mistake early in his life. And one of the individuals believed that one mistake in your life should not imprison you for your entire life. See, we would not be here today if we didn't forgive, we didn't believe in redemption and forgiveness. Right? And there's no community in this country that forgives like we do. So it's always great to see our forgiveness and redemption essentially practiced by those in the General Assembly, by those who are our chief executives and our governor. And so when I was Secretary of the Commonwealth, it's still the greatest accomplishment of my career and my life is to help Governor McAuliffe restore the rights of more than 150,000 individuals here in the great state of Virginia. Still one of my greatest. So I stand here every day and I wake up every morning. I have to pinch myself that a kid like me, who grew up with two teenage parents, raised by the grandmother, free and reduced lunch, I get to serve as the mayor of the great city of Richmond, the capital of the Commonwealth, the former capital of the Confederacy. And I would not be here if it wasn't for my grandmother's Social Security check, if it wasn't for student loans, merit scholarships. I wouldn't be here without that. My fear is, as we celebrate Black History Month, is that my story will become less and less common because of laws and policies being pursued at the General Assembly or in Congress. And I think it's our responsibility, I believe it's my responsibility to ensure that there is another person like me, a woman or a man, who can achieve their dream with the help of others. I mean, now and I'll tell you this is all not done by me. You said it earlier. Someone said it earlier, I forget. Some of this work isn't done by just one individual. You don't just make yourself happen. It doesn't happen that way. There's family, networks, friends, people, volunteers, those who are anonymous who get you here. There were many times where, my father said, I lost my job and we're not going to have Christmas. And teachers came together and collected dollars from coaches and amongst themselves. It surprised me. And many times they didn't look like me. These are teachers who just cared about me. And I thought, with my life and my career, I've got to give back. What does it say in Luke chapter 12, verse 48? To whom much is given, much is required. And I feel convicted to give back, to serve. And it's not easy. Delegate, not easy. Congresswoman, it's not easy. Councilman, it's not easy to serve. But to whom much is given, much is required. And I believe I'm required to serve and give back. And my drive in life is to ensure that there are more people like me, more stories like mine. But also, I recognize that in our work, we have to continue to combat what Dr. King called the triple evils of this world. Racism, economic exploitation, and militarism. Now, I feel like in my life, in my career, my work, I reframe those triple evils. I think about this, the things we need to do to ensure that there are more and more Black stories, more and more stories of those who may have grown up in tougher circumstances with challenges of poverty. What do we need to do to ensure that they can elevate their lives and not only change their trajectory, but change the trajectory of their families as well? We have to continue to be focused on opportunity. I feel like when you're in public service, we are in the opportunity business. Because opportunities make dreams happen. But we have to be intentional when we are talking about providing opportunity to others. Be intentional. And with that intentionality, that creates economic mobility. We want to make sure that everyone's gainfully employed, correct? That we're not living paycheck to paycheck. But we know that there are still folks who are living on the brink as we speak today. We're lucky enough that we can spend hours of our day on a Saturday to be here today and celebrate each other and fellowship. But the work of Brothers Keepers knows in this community, there are folks who are living today who are right home right now, starving for a bite to eat. So what can we do as a community, as a city, as a state, to elevate all of our people? No matter the color of their skin, who they pray to, who they choose to love. So reframing Dr. King's triple evils, some things I think we can work on. First, I just believe that education has to be the foundation. It was the foundation for me. It was still, even though my parents never graduated from high school, or my grandparents never graduated from high school, it was still a foundation for them.